For those of you who still doubt our Biafran Eldorado, I advise you that it's time for you to start believing in this dream, because let me tell you, Biafra is a spirit and nothing can stop Biafra as a spirit, because it must come to pass as prophesied by our leader Nnamdi Kanu, and also fought for by Ojukwu himself, and many lives died in pursuit of this struggle. And I'm telling you, it is time for you to rise up and believe, because not only will Biafra come, Biafra is going to be a thriving society, a thriving nation, and it's going to be one of the greatest nations on earth. In fact, I have listed out an economic blueprint for the Biafra of our dreams, and you will be marveled at what I have here for you. So whatever you're doing, it's time for you to observe and focus, so that you will see how our country, Biafra, is going to take over the world when it comes. Biafra economic blueprint, a sovereign future. Wow. The call for Biafra sovereignty has long been tied not only to cultural and political aspirations, but also to the economic possibilities that independence could unlock. At the heart of this discourse lies a crucial question. If Biafra were to become a sovereign state, what would its economic blueprint look like? This is not a small matter, because without a coherent and visionary economic plan, independence risks being symbolic rather than transformative. Now, let me take you through this comprehensive and thought-provoking economic roadmap for a sovereign Biafra, rooted in the region's resources, entrepreneurial spirit, and strategic positioning. Observe, listen very carefully, don't blink your eye. 1. Natural resources endowment, which is the foundation. Biafra is not starting from zero. Remember that. The proposed territory, largely within Nigeria's southeast and parts of the south-south, is rich in resources that can form the basis of an independent country. Example of such is oil and gas. Yes. The south-south axis holds substantial crude oil and natural gas reserves. Properly managed under a sovereign Biafra, this could be a launchpad for industrialization, not just crude exports alone. Observe. Also, we have solid minerals. The region holds reserves of limestone, coal, lead, coal of which you know Enugu has coal, lead, zinc, and untapped rare earth minerals. In an era of electric vehicles, listen, and battery technologies, lithium and cobalt exploration could be a game changer. Also, we have arable land. The fertile source of Abia State, Ebonyi State, Anambra State, and Enugu State, also Imo, allow year-round cultivation of cassava, rice, palm produce, vegetables, and fruits. Agriculture could be a backbone of food security and exports. Remember, resources alone do not make nations wealthy. Norway, Singapore, and Israel all teach us that management, governance, and innovation are what transform natural wealth into prosperity. Also, number 2, industrial strategy, from raw to refined products. Historically, Nigeria has been a rent-seeking economy, exporting raw materials and importing finished goods as usual. A sovereign Biafra must reverse this. We must stop it. We must change it by doing this following. 1. Petrochemical and refining industry. Instead of exporting crude oil, Biafra could invest in modular and mega refineries to produce petrol, diesel, aviation fuel, and petrochemicals for plastics and fertilizers. Also, agro-industrial zones. Palm oil refineries, cassava starch plants, rice mills, and cocoa/chocolate factories would boost both rural and urban economies. Also, we have tech-driven manufacturing. Drawing from the Igbo people's ingenuity, which is evident in Nnewi Auto Parts Industry and Abia State Leather Textiles Hub, Biafra could become Africa's next workshop, producing electronics, automobile, and machinery. Also, we have green energy transition. Gas turbines, solar panel assembly plants, and investments in renewable energy could position Biafra as a sustainable economy rather than another petro state. Then number 3, human capital, the true wealth. One of Biafra's greatest resources is not underground, but within its people. The Igbo nation is famous for entrepreneurship, adaptability, and a diaspora network spread across Africa, Europe, America, Middle East, and around the world. Educational system. A sovereign Biafra could restructure its education to focus on science, technology, engineering, and vocational training, producing a workforce for innovation rather than just paper qualifications. Also, our diaspora capital. Igbo people in diaspora remit billions annually. Properly incentivized, this diaspora can fund startups, infrastructure projects, and new industries in its sovereign homeland. Youth empowerment. By channeling the raw energy of youth into structured apprenticeship schemes, building on the famed Igbo apprenticeship system, Biafra could build an economy of job creators rather than job seekers. Number 4, infrastructure and connectivity, laying the tracks. Economic sovereignty requires infrastructure sovereignty, like transport. A network of modern expressways, railway lines linking inland states to coastal ports, and efficient airports like Port Harcourt Airport, Enugu Airport, Owerri, Asaba, Calabar Airport would anchor trade and mobility. Also, we have seaports. Owning and modernizing ports at the Port Harcourt, One, and Calabar is vital to break free from Nigeria's reliance on Lagos ports alone. Digital infrastructure. Building a robust broadband network and encouraging ICT hubs would allow Biafra to compete in the global digital economy. Number 5, trade and foreign policy beyond our borders. An independent Biafra will need to define its place in Africa and the world. Example, ECOWAS integration. As part of West Africa's trade bloc, Biafra could access a market of over 400 million people. AfCFTA opportunity. The African Continental Free Trade Agreement will allow Biafra-made goods to penetrate markets from Cape Town to Cairo around the east and west, north and south of Africa. Strategic partnerships. Partnering with Asian tigers like China, South Korea, Singapore, Indonesia for technology transfer, and with the West for investment and security guarantees could balance global interests. Diaspora trade diplomacy. The Biafran diaspora in the US, UK, and across Africa could serve as ambassadors of commerce. Number 6, governance and institutions. No economic plan can succeed without credible governance. A sovereign Biafra must avoid the pitfalls of corruption, mismanagement, and authoritarianism that have plagued many post-colonial states, including Nigeria, under which you have transparent resource management. A sovereign wealth fund like Norway own could manage oil revenues for long-term stability. Also, you have decentralized governance. Empowering local governments and communities would reflect the Igbo tradition of village democracy and accountability. Also, anti-corruption institutions. Building strong, independent institutions to check public spending and enforce laws is very non-negotiable. Also, inclusive development. Ensuring minority groups within Biafra's borders are represented and not marginalized is key for stability. Very important. And number 7, division from survivor to global player for Biafra. In the short term, Biafra will need to stabilize its currency, attract investment, and meet the immediate needs of citizens. But in the long term, the vision should be grander, the vision should expand and be bigger. Like, 1, a self-sufficient industrial hub in Africa. Biafra should become that. Biafra should become a self-sufficient industrial hub in Africa. Biafra should also become a technology and innovation leader, competing with Kenya, Rwanda, and South Africa in ICT. Biafra should also become an export-driven economy known for palm oil, automobiles, textiles, and refined petroleum products. Biafra should also be a financial hub, leveraging diaspora's funds and a reformed banking system. Biafra should have a green economy, positioning itself for the post-fossil fuel age. Generally, the dream of Biafra cannot rest solely on flags, national anthem, or emotional appeals to history. True sovereignty is economic sovereignty. A sovereign Biafra with no economic blueprint would risk replicating Nigeria's struggles. But a Biafra built on sound economic planning, good governance, and the ingenuity of its people could emerge as one of Africa's strongest states. The future belongs to those who can imagine it and work towards it. A sovereign Biafra's economic blueprint is not merely a possibility, it is a necessity. If the dream is to move from struggle to survival and from survival to prosperity. The dream of Biafra is real, and the economic opportunities are endless. It is time, I tell you, to stop doubting. It is time to believe. Because nothing happens except it comes from a dream at first. And remember, this world was built on a dream. So don't doubt your mind. Don't doubt that thing that is in your mind. No matter the obstacle in front of you, do not doubt. Do not entertain doubt. The Israelites have always believed that they will come back to their country one day. It took them thousands of years to ever find their way back. Even when they were scattered around the world, bits and pieces around the world, all the countries had Israelites living with them. And there was no hope for this great nation. What happened? Out of the blues, out of nowhere, Israel found their holy land, their, promised land. And you talk about Biafra that already have a place, a geographical location, a common struggle. In Israel and Biafra, who deserves a nation more? Of course it's Biafra, because we have at least a geographical location, which is a criteria for referendum in the first place. Israel didn't even have that. They didn't even have a geographical location. They didn't even have a basis for referendum in the first place. So I'm telling you, the fight for Biafra is real, and it is a journey that will come to pass. We will see the end of it. Keep believing. Never entertain doubt. Let's pray for Nnamdi Kanu's release on 10th of October, and surely the journey still continues. It doesn't matter what has happened in the past or the future. Biafra is a spirit, and no matter who goes down or who goes down, Biafra can never go down. Biafra can never go down. I've been your host, Chi Ne Du. See you next video. Peace.